So fractions can be looked upon as other things. For example, if you look at fraction as a decimal, one way to convert fractions to decimal is long division. But if you have nice denominators so that multiplying by powers of 2's and 5's allows you to create a power of 10 on the bottom, you'll end up with decimal numbers. Fraction in their lowest terms is terminating decimal like you see here, if and only if the denominator factors consist only powers of 2's and 5's. And the reason for this is because we can multiply by enough 2's and 5's to make powers of 10 on the bottom. Like here you had 8 times 5. 8 is made up of 2 times 2 times 2. So 3 2's, and 5 is 1 5. So 2 more 5's completed the power of 10 for us. We'll see more in-depth discussion of this later. If your denominator does not consist of 2's and 5's, you can always do long division and change it to decimal. We will do more on long division later, so we're not going to spend a lot of time here. You can also see fractions as ratios and percentages. Fractions can be used as ratios. For example, if I said, if you want to cook a batch of rice, use 1:2 ratio of rice to water. So if I wanted to make 2 cups of rice, then I would need 4 cups of water. So 2 cups of dry rice to 4 cups of water will make me a good batch of rice. A student got 80% on the test. That means if the test was at 100 points, then they got 80 points on it. It's not always necessary that the test is at 100 points, and we'll talk about percentages again later. The ratio of male to female in this room is 5:4. For your video log question, explain what that means to you. Similarly, explain on the video log what interest on a checking account is barely 1% in the last month means to you. We will do more on ratio, percentages, and decimals, converting fractions to decimals a little bit later. So here's some of your video log questions. Please stop the video, write the questions down so that you can complete them and turn them in. So we'll look at some different ways of writing decimal notation. You can have scientific notation, which is used in physics, chemistry, or biology if you're doing experiments. For example, 237.145 in scientific notation, you always want one digit to the left of the decimal point, and then you write the rest of the number. Since I moved the decimal 2 decimal places to the left, I would want to multiply by powers of 10 so that I can multiply and bring it back to how it was. So in this case, you're moving the decimal point to 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right, so it'll be 10 to the negative 4. So video log question, write the following 2 numbers in scientific notation, that one and that one. I'll pause for a second if you want, so you can write these numbers down. All right, rounding decimal numbers. To round the decimal number, say, to the nearest tens. So if you look at this number, this is the tens place, and to round it to the nearest tens place, look at the numbers below. So for example, 34.2 with zeros in the units place, so 30 and 40. So to round, we always look at which number is it closest to. So 34.2 is closer to 30 than to 40, and so you would round 34.2 to 30. If you round 23.456 to the nearest hundredths, this 5 is in the hundredths place, so we would look at 23.450 and 23.460. And then if you plot it on the number line, you would see that 23.456 is closer to 23.460. So you would round it to 23.46. When a number is exactly halfway between, we typically round up. So for example, 350 would be rounded to 400 when rounding to the nearest hundredths place value. Rounding is used in many natural science experiments to indicate the accuracy of the inherent measuring instrument. If you weigh a person and the weight says 160.0 pounds, that means the actual weight is measured to the nearest tenth of a pound, and the actual weight is less than 160.05 pounds and greater or equals to 159.95 pounds. So here's a measuring cup, and you can see how there's water in it, about close to 1 cup or 8 ounces. And so say this measuring cup is saying we have about 8 ounces of water. You can see how measuring cup is increments of 1/3 of a cup. You can go in 1/3 of a cups or 1/4 of a cup. So here you have thirds and here you have quarters. You can also go in increments of 4 ounces. In measuring cup, if you look on the other side, you can also go in increments of milliliters. So here's 100 milliliters, 125, 150, 175, 200. You can also use measuring tapes. Here the measuring tape is in inches, and you can see that the size of this pen drive is about 3 inches. If you look on the inch side of the tape, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Measure in eighths. Whereas if you look at the centimeter, it is measured in tenths. And so you can go up and down the centimeter in tenths. So this is about 7.5 centimeters. Measuring tapes have markings on both sides of it. Measuring is something very practical, done in many jobs like building bridges. Here you have Dr. Martin building a bridge over their lake. We can use English system where 1 yard is 3 feet, 1 foot is 12 inches, making it harder to convert from yards to feet to inches. However, if you use metric system, you can easily go by just multiplication or division by powers of 10 to go from kilometers to meters to centimeters. So here's the next set of questions we would like you to think about.